So before I begin, I just want to re-emphasize I'm not a teacher. Everything I'm going to be talking about is going to be Bible based. I'll read a scripture, kind of like say what it means to me, and then summarize it at the end, kind of thing. But yeah, maybe I misunderstood something, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Go from there. So the study that I have been looking into for this one is I called it like, what is truth? And it could be something so simple, like I mentioned earlier, that we think we just know, like, who's Jesus? The Son of God. He's Christ. Like, duh. But then how much of that have you really like written down and documented, like, this is the biblical definition of Jesus Christ, or in this case, truth. So here's my set of Bible verses that is what I believe about what truth is, rather than just being like thinking on the fly when somebody asks you what is truth. So what is truth? What do you guys think? For this, I'm gonna start off, and well, it's pretty much all in John, where I found what I was looking for. John 15 verse 26. But when the helper comes, whom I shall send you from the Father, the Spirit of truth who proceeds from the Father, he will testify of me, and you will also bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning. So whom I shall send to you from the Father, the Spirit of truth who proceeds from the Father. So the point that I'm bringing up this scripture for is the Spirit of truth, it comes from the Father. And then in John 14 verse 6, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So obviously what we're talking about here, the key word here is the truth. So the truth comes from God, and Jesus is the truth. Okay, noted. Moving to John 8 30 to 32. And he spoke these words, many believed in him. Then Jesus said to those Jews who believed in him, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. They answered him, we are Abraham's descendants, and they have never been in bondage to anyone. How can you say you will be free? Point here, if you abide in Jesus's word, you're his disciple, and you shall know truth, and the truth will set you free from sin and all that stuff following. So in order to know the truth, you need to abide in the word of Christ, and once you do that, you'll be set free from sin and all that good stuff, bad stuff. Moving on to John 4:24. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. So God is spirit, and in order to worship God, you gotta do it in the spirit and truth. What this kind of means to me, like, we gotta break it down, like, what is spirit and what does it mean to worship in the spirit? So, and it's important that I lay a little bit of context. So what's leading up to Jesus saying this is he's talking to a woman of Samaria, and let me just find the direct quote that I'm talking about. So it's about the woman, and she has 5 husbands, or she's getting water, and she doesn't have a husband, but she like is sleeping around, I guess. Let me just start here. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said to her, you have well said, I have no husband, but for you have 5 husbands, and the one whom you now have is not your husband, and that you spoke truly. The woman said to him, Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, and you Jews say that in Jerusalem is the place where one ought to worship. So the lady is saying, aren't you supposed to worship in Jerusalem? That's what the thing. Jesus said to her, Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. So he's saying, a time is coming when you don't need to be in Jerusalem to worship. You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. So he's telling the lady, you don't know what you're worshiping. We know what we're worshiping. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him will do so in spirit and truth. So he's saying that the time is coming when you no longer need to be somewhere and do these things to worship God. And so when it says like you need to worship God in spirit, I think that's what it's kind of like drawing to. It's saying that like you're not physically doing all of these things. Like, you're not like going to Jerusalem, walking there or whatever, and you're not like putting your hands together like this, and you're saying the rituals and sacrificing the cow and doing all these behaviors. Instead, you're worshiping in your spirit. Like, you know, whatever you do, you can pray and talk to God. Like, I could just be sitting here and you wouldn't even know I'm talking to God. And I think that's what the spirit part of this is when it comes to worship. Like, it's not a behavior of physical checking characteristics of a ceremony. It's just in your spirit. Like, you just worship in your spirit, and that could be anywhere. It's not limited to anything. And yeah. And then on the truth side of that, Jesus is saying that, like, you don't know what you're worshiping. We know what we're worshiping. So, like, the truth about what you're worshiping, like how it actually is, why we're actually doing this, you know, X, Y, and Z of what is really going on. The person worshiping in their spirit in this context knows what he's worshiping. Like, I'm worshiping Jesus Christ, the Son of God, for, you know, dying for my sins on the cross. So it's like, I know the truth about what I'm worshiping, and I'm doing so through my spirit. I'm not worshiping through behaviors of ceremonies, and I'm not worshiping what I don't understand. I know what I'm talking about, and I worship through my spirit. So that's what that means to me. Wrapping all this together, and just kind of recap here. A truth comes from the Father. Jesus is the truth. If you continue in his word, you'll know the truth. And then we worship in spirit and in truth. And one last scripture in John 1, where he says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, ... And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we had beheld his glory, and the glory of begotten, the full grace and truth. So the Word is God, the God is truth, and Jesus is truth, that we learn from the other scripture too. So what am I getting at here? What do I think all this points to? So based on when Jesus was talking to the woman, he's saying that knowing what you're worshiping is like a form of truth. So clearly, like, truth has something to do with knowledge, correct knowledge. So I think, in my opinion, what truth is like, there is a way things work. Like, just like how the planets have physics or whatever, like there's gravity or whatever. And let's just say, like, all of it is 100% accurate. Like, let's say gravity in this hypothetical or whatever is 100% like fact. It is a law of nature. It happens, and it's not like, it's never not true. So that would be like a truth of physics, because it's 100%, yeah, that's correct, that's the way that it works. So truth regarding, like, anything regarding creation and your spirit and God and all of this, there is a way that everything works inside and out. There's a right way to worship, there's a right way to be righteous. Like, there's no opinions about any of this kind of stuff. Like, this is what's right, this is what's wrong, period. No ifs, ands, buts, or whatever. That's what truth means to me. So if you were to, like, if the truth is like defining everything in a way, like an analogy, it's like if you had a dictionary, and in that dictionary it said what everything meant, like, that would be like a book, like the truth. But the words in it, what language are we speaking? So, like, is it an English dictionary? Is it a French dictionary? So that's where I think the word comes in, and the word itself is a vessel of communication. The word is, it's spoken, so communication. So I think the word is the communication, the vessel of communication of the truth. So the truth is like the laws of nature, but how do I tell you the laws of nature? I gotta communicate that to you. That's where the word comes in, and where Christ comes in, where he comes down here and told us. He communicated it to us, and that's what the word is. So the word is the truth, but it's like the means of communication of the truth. So, and then going back to being Jesus's disciple, if you study his word, then you will know truth. If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So if the truth is the laws of nature, or whatever you want to, the laws of everything, how things work, and the word is the Jesus communicating it to you, then naturally, if you're learning the word, you're learning the truth. So then you will be set free because you'll understand how things work, and that will set you on the right path towards righteousness. Because I honestly, like, if you know the truth, how could you not clean up your act and stuff? Like, it blows my mind to think that somebody could do to learn all this and then, you know, go into sin entirely. There's a spot in the Bible that says the people that do that, it's like impossible for them to come back to Christ, because you're basically like crucifying Christ all over again, making a mockery of it. But I guess it's a possibility. Some people argue that like once saved, always saved. Like once you're saved, you can't lose your salvation. And then there's a group of people who think that like if you're a true Christian, you'd never fall away. And so therefore, if somebody falls away, they were never a true Christian, and so they were never saved. So they didn't lose their salvation because they were never saved, because they were never a true Christian. That's like a core component of a couple of churches out there that I disagree with, personally speaking. But there are people that believe that. That's what I want to look into truth. So yeah, truth is how things work, X, Y, and Z. The word is the vessel of communication of the truth, and that is what the truth is. So I find that interesting. Let me know what you think. If you want to add anything, feel free to comment. And that concludes the study portion. So thanks for in the stream entirely. Let me switch over here. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, feel free to post them and I will take a look at them. Hope to hear some good discussions out there. Again, disagree with me, that's totally fine. I'm not a teacher, I'm not teaching you. In fact, I'd like to learn from you. So if you have anything you'd like to add, hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a great rest of your Sunday, and stay blessed, stay in the word, stay righteous, and have a great day. Peace.